one of the most important defining moments of my career was I was an NFL cheerleader. And my first year, I was so excited to do the swimsuit calendar. The swimsuit calendar was like a big thing. And I was 18 years old and, whatever. And they came to us and they said, surprise, we're not doing a swimsuit calendar. We're doing a lingerie calendar this year. And I said, oh, hell to the no. I'm 18 years old. I'm not doing a lingerie calendar. I'm not like prancing around in my underwear. And at that moment, I made the decision, like my career is going to be based on my brains. It's not going to be based on my body. I went to the coach. I said, I'm not doing this. And they put me in. So we were walking the runway for this, for this big press tour of the lingerie calendar. And because I said, I won't wear lingerie, they put me in this big, frumpy, the ugliest brown suit you could ever imagine. It was like my punishment, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, it is a punishment. You're going to get retribution. But it was a defining moment of my life, because in that moment I was like, no, like you're not going to tell me how it's going to be. And I'm not going to build my career based on how my body looks. I'm going to build my career based on my brains. And that was like a huge moment for me that really set the tone of like, where do I want to go with my life from here? Because a lot of the girls were going to use that obviously to get modeling contracts and to get more like media opportunities and acting and all of those things. And I was completely knocked out of that game at that point. They were like, you're done. I got no opportunities. And I made that choice. And I was like, no, like I'm going in a different direction. And that's when I really got clear, like, my life is going to be about contributing to the world in a meaningful way by who I am, not how I look. And it's exactly to your point. And I think, we all have to share those stories, like your story and my story, in order for, other girls and women to understand, like, put a stake in the ground, decide for yourself who you want to be. And there's endless opportunity. You're not giving up anything. And the thing that you think you're gaining by doing that thing is not what's going to make you happy anyway. Yeah, I could like to add to that. I think what we've all felt and experienced is that women are viewed as disposable. So you are our object. You're a body first, maybe a person second, but mostly just a body. If you aren't going to do what your role is, which is to be this object, then you don't get the opportunity or you're going to get punished. And how dare you expect to be treated as something other than what you are? And that was something we've all experienced. It makes you feel so small, so insignificant. But it's a defining moment that so many of us have, because that is our inner self saying something's not right here.
Yeah. And
when you know yourself as a person, that's what the goal is to say, you are so clear. You're like, hell no. Now, how, when we look at media and we look at how powerful it is, we can sit and have this conversation and say, yeah, educating all day long will help. But at the end of the day, it's a self-value issue, because if you don't have self-value, there's no amount of classes we can do with you that's going to stop you from seeing all the plastic surgery posts on there and being like, well, I should get that, maybe if my lips are bigger, or maybe if I got my nose fixed. Like, there's no amount of education that will stop that void within yourself. And so, it takes constant effort. And, I'm going to be 38. I've been in the industry since I was 17. My face is changing, and seeing it frame by frame sucks. Just letting you guys know, it really sucks. I'm like, what's this thing on my neck? That never used to be there. Like, okay. And we joke about it because we're getting so many requests now. As the consumers are dictating the market, we have a voice, and women are saying, like, I don't want to shop off of someone that looks like a teenager. I'm an adult woman. I have money. I do not want to see this. Sell to me. And having those conversations of like being in the industry and being on set. And a lot of the women that work for me also have kids, and we all still like have style, and like we're still normal people who also happen to be moms. And just the verbiage around how they say things will be like, she looks like a mom. And we're like, what's wrong with that? Like, we're the ones that buy all your products, and we're like, so we're taking our power back collectively outside of the industry and giving that feedback to them that they never had a chance to receive before. So that's one angle that's super powerful. But on the reverse of that, when you look at social media, when you said never have there been this magnitude of like people being able to manipulate at this level, never has there been the tools in someone's hand to alter their image the way they can with one app. Like a 13-year-old can like create a complete avatar and you can't tell that that's a completely fake face. It's shocking. Like some of the apps, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're getting better and better of like fully changing someone's body and face to the point where if you don't have a trained eye for it, like we do, you really could believe that that's like what somebody walks around looking like. And so what I like to do is I say, isn't it funny how on social media, we see all of these models, these Insta models, and I go, never once when I'm outside do I see anyone that looks anything like this. Like, it's just a funny game that I play. I'm like, literally not one time have I seen a face that looks like this out in public. And so it just goes to show, we say, hey, this needs to change. And this is, you know, a problem, but we also have to do that inner work to go, we are all also still battling it. And it's okay to admit it. We are in a system that makes it incredibly difficult. So acknowledging, I'm still struggling with this. And, you know, like for me, like I said, I used to do Botox and the fillers and stuff, and I don't judge anyone who does it. It's a personal choice. Like for me, for feminism is like, whatever fits you and you feel good about, do it. I'm support you. For me personally, I had to question that because I'm like, in a way, I started to feel like I'm doing this because I feel shame around aging. I feel less valuable. Like that was the internal things that I was covering up by doing this action. And then I had to question, like, does that actually look better? Or have I been told this looks better? And then I talk to my friends about it. I'm like, you know, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, yes, it's nice. I like aesthetically sometimes when people do it nice and you age gracefully, great. I also go, I'm like, maybe I want to look like a cool wrinkled wizard. I don't know. We've never seen women that get to age freely and gracefully and cool. We've only seen like, you know, the Golden Girls. I don't know if you guys saw that meme, but there's a picture of them that was like, when the Golden Girls came out, they were in their 50s. They looked like 100 years old. And you're right. I'm almost 40 and I don't relate to any of that at all. So we're in a different era where I feel like our generation of women we're really carving out what we want, and it can be confusing. And I feel like there's a lot of shame around the navigation of it. So you're shamed if you don't do it. You're shamed if you do it. You're shamed. Like, it's just shame, 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 shame. And I just want to embolden people to say, whatever feels right to you in that moment for where you're at, great. But never stop asking those deeper questions. And then try it. Like, so I was like, you know what? If I stop doing this for a while, let me see. And I was like, you know, I kind of like it. Like my eyes are a little smaller. I got my little smile lines, but I'm like, I started appreciating my face more than when I was doing it. And I'm like, ooh, maybe there's something here. Let me just take a beat. I'm not judging myself. If I want to make a different decision in the future, I'm allowed to. And that's super empowering if we can get on that path where we're tuning out the noise and the outside influence and turning within to say, I get to shape out the rest of my life moving forward. How do I want to feel? Do I want to constantly look in the mirror and be like, oh, I need to like change this. This is going to go south. It's just going to happen. I'm like, so I can either start accepting it now and evolve into my next phase of beauty. That's going to be very different. But appreciate it and explore it in a way that is beautiful and meaningful for me. Or I can try to stop what's going to naturally happen, fight it, feel shame around it, and like deny myself the opportunity to be seen as who I am. Like that's where we're getting to in our process, and everybody's at a different place. So when it comes to like body image, one analogy that really worked well for me is I'm like, we got to start thinking about building sense of self. We don't just get taught that. In fact, from childhood, we have a sense of self and it gets knocked down. So it's not that you need to learn how to love yourself. You're born loving yourself. I have a 6-year-old. Trust me, I don't have to teach her to like herself. It's the opposite. They are taught not to like themselves. And then they have to learn how to rebuild some sense of self that feels genuine to who they are instead of who people tell them they should be.